Welcome to Truth Behind History, where we uncover the hidden stories that shaped the world. Today, we're diving into the Battle of Talas, a 5-day conflict that reshaped power in Central Asia and had consequences far beyond what anyone at the time could have imagined. At first glance, this may seem like just another ancient battle, but trust me, this one had huge consequences. It wasn't just about territory, it was about trade, technology, and the fate of empires. The battle pitted two great powers against each other, the Tang Dynasty of China, which had been expanding westward, and the Abbasid Caliphate, the rising force of the Islamic world, pushing east. Why did they fight? Control over the Silk Road. This wasn't just a trade route, it was the lifeline of global commerce. Whoever controlled the Silk Road controlled wealth, power, and influence. By the mid-700s, the Tang Dynasty had a stronghold in Central Asia, and the Abbasids were looking to expand in the same region. The two empires were on a collision course, and tension was building. When a local kingdom sought help from both sides, it was all the excuse they needed. War was inevitable. On one side, the Tang army, led by General Jiao Xianji, marched west with a force of 30,000 soldiers. Jiao was a seasoned commander, confident in his ability to win. On the other side, the Abbasid forces, under General Ziyad ibn Soleh, had a powerful military backing them, including an alliance with the Karluks, a Turkic group that would play a critical role in what was about to unfold. The two forces clashed near the Talas River in present-day Kyrgyzstan in July of 751. At first, neither side could gain a decisive advantage. The battle raged on for 4 days, with both armies locked in a stalemate. But on the fourth day, everything changed. The Karluks, who had been fighting alongside the Tang, suddenly turned against them. In a shocking act of betrayal, they switched sides and launched a surprise attack from within. The Tang army was caught completely off guard. In an instant, the balance of power shifted. Surrounded and overwhelmed, the Tang forces collapsed. General Jiao Xianji barely managed to escape with his life, but the battle was lost. The Abbasids had won. But what happened next would be far more significant than just a military victory. This battle didn't just shift borders, it reshaped the power dynamics of Central Asia and set off a chain reaction of events that would change global history. Let's take a closer look at the consequences of this battle and how it altered the course of civilizations. The battle may have lasted only 5 days, but its impact lasted for centuries. The defeat of the Tang wasn't just a military loss, it reshaped power in Central Asia and beyond, leading to consequences that neither side could have predicted. Before the battle, the Tang dynasty had firm control over key trade routes in Central Asia. They had expanded far beyond China's borders, securing their dominance over the lucrative Silk Road. But after their defeat at Talas, everything changed. The Tang were forced to retreat, and their influence in the region quickly crumbled. Without their presence, the Abbasids filled the power vacuum, solidifying their dominance over Central Asia. What started as a single battle ended up marking the end of Chinese expansion into the region. But the most surprising outcome of the battle had nothing to do with land or power, it had to do with technology. During the battle, the Abbasids captured Chinese artisans who possessed a secret skill that the Islamic world had never seen before: papermaking. At this time, paper was a luxury, and in much of the world, people relied on expensive materials like parchment or papyrus to write and record information. The Chinese had mastered the art of making high-quality paper, but this knowledge had not yet spread beyond East Asia. The Abbasids immediately recognized the value of this technology. Instead of treating these artisans as ordinary prisoners of war, they put them to work, setting up papermaking workshops in the heart of the Islamic world. From there, the knowledge spread rapidly. Within a few decades, papermaking centers were established across the Abbasid Empire, from Baghdad to Damascus. The impact of this cannot be overstated. With the ability to produce paper in large quantities, the Abbasids revolutionized record-keeping, administration, and education. Scholars, scientists, and poets suddenly had access to an affordable writing medium, fueling an intellectual boom that would later be known as the Islamic Golden Age. The very foundation of libraries, universities, and scientific progress in the Islamic world can be traced back to this single event. Meanwhile, the shift in power had another major effect: the Abbasids took control of the Silk Road. With the Tang retreating, the Abbasids strengthened their hold on the trade networks connecting China, the Middle East, and Europe. This led to a massive increase in economic and cultural exchanges, as merchants, scholars, and travelers moved freely between civilizations. The Silk Road became a highway for goods, ideas, and innovations, further linking the East and West. So, what started as a battle for control over trade routes ended up altering the course of global history. Not only did the Abbasids emerge as the dominant power in Central Asia, but they also gained access to one of the most important technological advancements of the ancient world. But beyond the political shifts and technological transfers, the Battle of Talas reveals deeper lessons about war, strategy, and the unexpected consequences of conflict. What can we learn from this battle? And how do its lessons still apply to the modern world? Let's take a closer look. The Battle of Talas wasn't just a fight over land, it was a battle over influence, trade, and alliances. And the patterns we see in this battle still play out today in war, diplomacy, and global politics. One of the biggest lessons from Talas is the importance of alliances. The Tang went into battle believing they had strong allies, including the Karluks, but that alliance turned out to be their biggest weakness. The Karluks didn't just abandon them, they actively turned against them. This betrayal didn't just cost the Tang the battle, it cost them their influence in Central Asia. This isn't just something that happened in ancient times. History is filled with examples of alliances shifting unexpectedly, from World War alliances that collapsed to modern political partnerships that dissolve under pressure. A strong army isn't enough, choosing the right allies, and knowing whether they will stay loyal, can be the difference between victory and defeat. Another key takeaway is the power of controlling trade routes. The Silk Road wasn't just a path through the desert, it was the economic backbone of multiple civilizations. Controlling it meant controlling the flow of goods, information, and wealth. This is why both the Tang and the Abbasids were willing to fight for it. And while the Silk Road may not exist in the same form today, the struggle over trade routes is still a defining factor in global politics. Countries compete for control over shipping lanes, energy pipelines, and digital trade networks. Economic power is often just as important as military power, and the Battle of Talas is a perfect example of how controlling trade routes can determine the fate of empires. Perhaps the most unexpected lesson from this battle is how conflicts can lead to the transfer of technology and knowledge. The spread of papermaking from China to the Abbasid world wasn't planned, it was an accident of war. But that accident changed history. This has happened many times throughout history. War has a way of forcing civilizations to adapt, learn, and exchange innovations, sometimes in ways that neither side expects. From World War II driving advancements in rocketry and computing, to the Cold War accelerating space exploration, we see this pattern over and over again. Talas reminds us that war isn't just about destruction, it's also about transformation. Knowledge moves, whether through diplomacy, trade, or even the chaos of battle. So, what does this all mean for us today? It means history isn't just a list of old battles, it's a map of patterns that repeat themselves. The same forces that shaped the Battle of Talas, alliances, trade, and technology, are still shaping global conflicts today. Before we wrap up, let's go over the key takeaways one last time and put everything into perspective. The Battle of Talas may have lasted only 5 days, but its consequences stretched far beyond the battlefield. It wasn't just a war between two empires, it was a turning point that reshaped power in Central Asia, changed global trade, and led to one of the most important technological transfers in history. This battle marked the end of Tang expansion into Central Asia. Before Talas, the Tang Dynasty had been steadily pushing westward, securing influence over the Silk Road and strengthening their connections with other civilizations. But after their defeat, their ambitions in the region collapsed. The Abbasids, on the other hand, solidified their hold over Central Asia, taking control of key trade routes and ensuring their dominance over the region. More than that, Talas had an unexpected consequence: the spread of papermaking. What began as a military confrontation ended up changing the way knowledge was recorded and preserved. The Islamic world took this technology, improved upon it, and used it to fuel an intellectual revolution that would help shape the modern world. Without this battle, the spread of paper, and everything that followed from it, might have been delayed by centuries. The battle also teaches us key lessons about history. It reminds us that alliances can be fragile, that control over trade is often more valuable than control over land, and that even war can serve as a catalyst for progress. These aren't just lessons from the past, they're patterns that continue to shape world events today. One battle, 5 days, a betrayal, a shift in power, and a ripple effect that changed civilization. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps bring more of these hidden stories to life. And if you're fascinated by the impact of battles, trade, and technology on history, check out our other videos, there's plenty more to uncover. Thanks for watching Truth Behind History, and I'll see you in the next one.